Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So I'm looking at this side of the sanctuary here, and I'm reminded of my mentor, actually one who got me into this business, an educator I worked with many years ago, who used to set up all the chairs and allow everybody to sit down, and then took the first 2 rows away. Which is a way of saying, if you want to scoot up, feel free to scoot up. I want to welcome you all here. Excited to have you all here. Welcome to those of you who are joining us, who are streaming online as well. It's great to have you all here. For those who may not know me yet, my name is Barry Lutz. I'm very excited to be the interim rabbi here at Kol Ami, and delighted to have you joining us here for Shabbat, whether you're joining us online or joining us here in the sanctuary. So this past Shabbat, for those of you who were here, you may recall I mentioned that it was Shabbat Chazon, the Shabbat of vision, which is named so because of Isaiah's vision. That's the way the book of Isaiah starts, with Chazon Yeshayahu. And in that moment, the Israelite nation stands on the precipice of destruction, and it is closely followed. It always comes, as I mentioned last week, on the Shabbat right before Tisha B'Av, which we observed just yesterday, which commemorates the destruction of the temple and the exile of the Jewish people to Babylonia. And it's considered by many in the Jewish community to be the darkest moment in the Jewish year. It's also considered by many to be an expression of God's anger at the Jewish people for their callous disregard and their unethical treatment of each other, which leads to God using the Babylonians to destroy the temple and exile the people. Which brings us to this Shabbat, which is called Shabbat Nachamu, also from the prophet Isaiah. And this Shabbat, Nachamu meaning compassion, so this is called the Shabbat of compassion, comes with the message that God's anger does not mean that God doesn't love us. So, those of us who have been parents understand that, right? And we've said those words many times, probably to our children, which is, just because I'm angry at you doesn't mean I don't love you. It's kind of the message of this time. The second part of that parental comment is, I just want you to act differently. And that is the message of these weeks. It's the message of Isaiah. Over the next 7 weeks, we will be reading Isaiah every week for the next 7 weeks as we approach Rosh Hashanah. And Isaiah's message in many ways is, God just wants you to act differently. And this Shabbat is the starting point for that, for our journey over the next 7 weeks towards the new year. So welcome, Shabbat Shalom. We're delighted to have you here for this Shabbat Nachamu. I'm delighted to be joined by my sister from another mother, Cantor Patty Linsky, as we, for the last Shabbat in July.
Yeah.
Wow.
Going quickly.
Yikes. And so we want to invite you to join us in Shir Chadash. Yes? Is that what we're singing?
That's what we're singing.
Okay. On page 640. Just want to make sure.
48.
648. Which, as I often mention, even though it is a song that many of us know so well and have been singing for a long time, these beautiful words by Julie Silver are a reminder to us that each time we join together in prayer to open our voices and our hearts as if it is the first time, to sing it out as if it is indeed a new song. So I hope you'll join with us.
Shir
unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. I will sing unto God a new song.
If you'll turn your prayer books to page 120 and 121, we welcome Shabbat with the kindling of the Shabbat lights. I'd like to invite Jane and Mike to join us on the bima to lead us in these blessings. So, pick a reading, either one.
Yeah. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Do you want to light?
You want to light the candles? You want me to hold something, right? Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah
Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat Blessed are you who commands us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
And on page 123, we sanctify this moment, this day, with Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim Kiva ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת לחיים.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you. I'll take this. Thank you. Continue on page 138 as we welcome Shabbat into our midst with the singing of Lecha Dodi. As is our tradition, we will sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And on verse 9, as we join in that final verse, we will rise and turn towards the entrance of the sanctuary, symbolically welcoming Shabbat into our midst.
לקראת קלה, יאללה, 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 בני שבת נתקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, יאללה, 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 בני שבת נתקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, יאללה, 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 בני שבת נתקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, יאללה, 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 בני שבת נתקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, יאללה, 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 בני שבת נתקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, יאללה, 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 בני שבת נתקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי העורב ובי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, יאללה, 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 בני שבת נתקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, יאללה, 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 בני שבת נתקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני על סגולה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, יאללה, 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 בני שבת נתקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, יאללה, 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 בני שבת נתקבלה. One more time, לך דודי לקראת קלה, יאללה, 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 בני שבת נתקבלה.
While you're all standing, I invite you to greet each other Shabbat Shalom, maybe meet someone new that you don't know yet. And
Is it hot in here? Is it hot in here? Burning.
that wasn't my phone, that was ringing upstairs.
Oh, great.
I think someone was trying to get in the
Neat.
gate.
Oh, God.
If you'll turn in your prayer books to page 146 and remain standing, we'll join together in the Baruch Hu.
Who gives me these miracles? Who awakens me each day? Who breaks the chains of slavery and shows me the way? Who steadies my footsteps? Who opens up my eyes? Who lifts up the fallen that we all may rise? That we all may rise. 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 Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Let's do that one more time. Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
On the bottom of page 151, let's join together. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works, and the living language that gives it form. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please be seated. So continue on page 154, the Ve'ahavta. Actually, excuse me, I'll find the words right here.
This version is by Julie Silver. You're nodding. It's a beautiful translation of the Ve'ahavta. Love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart. Teach them faithfully unto your children. Speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise. Bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be a symbol between your eyes. Write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates, and upon your gates. Teach them faithfully unto your children. Speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise, and when you rise.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt. that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Continue with Mi Chamocha on page 158.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha ne'edav hakodesh, Torah tehillah Tehillah Sefele Malchutecha ra'u v'anacha Bokei hayam livnei Moshe u'Miriam Ze Elianu ve'amru Ze Elianu ve'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang a song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. Try one more time. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long.
Page 160.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom Hamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Save us for the sake of your name. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred. Shield us from hatred. Sorrow and pain. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom Hamidenu shomreinu lechayim lechayim lechayim.
Page 164. We find there a kavanah, an expression of heartfelt intent. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. O God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Open my lips, that when I pray it be for a wise mind, for a will strong enough to live by your word. The word I can hear within me if I am aware enough to hear it. The word that never ceases to teach me. As we try to hear God's voice within us, I invite you now to rise as we join together in the Amidah.
Adonai Sfatai Tiftach. Adonai Sfatai Tiftach. Ufi yagid tehilatecha. Ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai Sfatai Tiftach. Adonai Sfatai Tiftach. Ufi yagid tehilatecha. Ufi yagid tehilatecha.
I invite you now to continue with our words of our prayer book through page 180, or with the thoughts and meditations of your own hearts. And when you're prepared to do so, feel free to be seated.
hearts broken open to lessons we'll never stop learning. We begin again. Amen. 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 We begin again. We begin in strength. We begin seeking justice. We begin with our arms stretching open to welcome the weary among us. We begin again. We begin again. May the sweetness of this Shabbos never end. Begin again, begin again. May we never take for granted where we've been. Amen. 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 We begin again. Amen. 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 We begin again.
Turn now to our prayer for healing. If you need the words, you'll find them on page 371. We pray for a refuah shlema, a full and complete healing for those suffering illness of body, of mind, of spirit. We offer prayer of healing for John Altschul, Aaron Aronov, Gary Ashland, Stephen Baird, Marion Barak, Butch Barrett, Michael Becker, Sophie Bellsberg, Itzhak Ben Nomi, Lisa Bird, Elaine Blatt, Louise Cantrell, Wayne Cantrell, Amy Chadwick, Bill Cohen, Bertha Coleman, Michael Dyer, Tino Felipe, Bernie Goldstein, Robert Greenberg, Rhonda Kaplan, Jeff Mackler, Joe Marinelli, Chris Mendoza, Yeet Nakowitz, Zachary Pierce, Vitaly Popov, Keith Rand, Ben Reback, Arlene Reagan, Ivan Rosenberg, Richard Ross, Myrna Salzberg, Benjamin Sculia, Enid Seelig, Lowell Selvin, Miles Sen, Karen Shanbrom, Luann Snyder, Henry Summerfield, David Suriel, Lily Tzu Tyler, Stephen Valentino, David Ben Herschel Vabasha, Adam Weisbart, Rena Weishart, Gib Weinbar, Philip Windsor, Eitan Wolf, and Doug Workman. And before we join together in the words of our prayers, if there are those for whom you are praying this Shabbat, I invite you to please call out their name at this time.
Shebeno avoteinu mikor habracha leimoteinu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu מקור הברכה לאבותינו. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
Well, there are a lot of observances in this time of year. And this coming Wednesday, we celebrate Tu B'Av. Tu B'Av. In modern Israel, it is called Chag HaAhava, the Festival of Love, or as we know it, Valentine's Day. It's a holiday whose roots are actually much more ancient than Valentine's Day. They extend back at least 2 millennia, actually, maybe more. The Talmud relates that on this day, on Tu B'Av, the single women of Jerusalem would go out, all dressed in white, in order to find themselves a partner. It's kind of a ancient Sadie Hawkins Day, if you will. Oh, I'm glad some of you know who Sadie Hawkins Day is. That's good. Interestingly enough, Tu B'Av is always connected to this week's Parsha, on which Moses recounts to the Israelites that are standing, of course, on the border to the Promised Land, that loving moment at Sinai when God gave them Torah. That moment in our tradition is often depicted as a wedding, and the Torah as God and Israel's ketubah. Interestingly enough, a quick word search of Deuteronomy confirms this love connection. The Israelites standing on the border of the Promised Land are reminded 94 times to love. 94 times to love each other, to love their neighbor, to love the orphan, the widow, the stranger, and of course to love God. 94 times. Deuteronomy is very distinct in this focus. Genesis speaks of love 27 times, Exodus 17, Leviticus 14, Numbers only 6, but Deuteronomy 94 times. Love is mentioned here almost as many times as it is in Shir HaShirim, Song of Songs, which of course is a book of love poetry. Deuteronomy's message is very clear. Love is an essential component in the building and maintenance of a promised land. And that is no less true today than it was thousands of years ago. So just how is it that our tradition would have us express our love to each other? Well, that answer can be found in many places in our tradition, many examples. But I want to start with one from the 27th chapter of Proverbs that I often refer to when I'm standing under the chuppah. And those words are, which you can almost see on the screen. I think Peter, they can probably see it up there. I see the screen. Okay. I'll tell you what it says. It says, as in water, a face is reflected to a face, so too the heart of one to another. As in water, a face is reflected to a face, so too the heart of one to another. Well, a student looking at this verse wondered, why water? Wouldn't a mirror be a lot easier to see one's face reflected back? To which her teacher replied, yes, but unlike a mirror, for a face to see its reflection in water, it has to lean in really close. So too the heart of one to another. To understand the heart of another, you have to lean in really close. What we learn here in this sentence from Proverbs is that love results from leaning in really close, taking the time, as one must when looking into water, to pay really close attention, in order that we might not see only the face, but also the heart and the soul of our beloved. From a distance, you can yearn for another. From a distance, you can have infatuation. You can think that you know someone, but until your hearts are truly leaning in close together, you really don't know each other. You can't really love another. Now, you may not know this, but each time you open your Siddur, you are taught this exact lesson from the book of Proverbs. Two prayers whose theme is love lean in very closely together. They're up there, in case you can see them. But in case you can't, I'll tell you where they are. On page 150 is where it starts in your prayer book. There are two prayers about love leaning in very closely to each other. On the one side, on page 150, or up there on the screen, is Ahava, a prayer that recognizes what we recognize in the parashah this Shabbat, God's great loving gift to us, Torah. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amcha ahavta. Everlasting love you have offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah. And leaning in from the other side, on page 154, Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha. You shall love your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your being. We learn here that love is not just an emotion, but it is a way of being in the world. We lean in close in order to lovingly give to our beloved something they need, to be for them something they may need us to be for them. And we learn from these prayers that there is a reciprocity to our actions. God's loving act was giving us Torah. Our loving gift back to God is expressed in actions through which we enhance the words and through which we enact the words of Torah that we have been given. When we rise up, when we lie down, when we teach them, when we place them on our heads and our arms and our doorposts. These two prayers are like faces' reflection in water. They are leaning in close. We see similar words, in fact. I know you can't see them, but they're there, reflecting back to each other. In Ahavat Olam, we read, therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. And in Ve'ahavta, of course, when you lie down and when you rise up. And of course, each reflect the same core idea that is taught in this week's Torah portion as well. Loving is a covenantal commitment to each other. And central to both, the relationship between God and Israel, described in our Torah portion this week, as well in its graphic representation in the structure of our Siddur, is the fundamental importance of what stands right between them, the Shema. Listening, hearing each other. After all, listening, truly listening and hearing, is a compassionate act. And so it should not be surprising that we find it in our liturgy standing right between God and Israel's expression of love one for the other. Because listening is the essential act, the essential bonding, loving act. And so it is that on this Shabbat, Shabbat Nachamu, this Shabbat of compassion, we turn away from the darkness of Tisha B'Av, a moment rising out of our callous disregard for one another and turn instead towards compassion that is rooted in being able to listen and to hear each other. By placing this portion that we read this Shabbat right here, our tradition is making an important point. The loving act of listening is the first step we must take in our journey towards a new year. It is the first step towards the creation of a promised land. And so as we celebrate Tu B'Av this week, Chag HaAhava, let us commit to doing more, to lean in close and to listen. B'chol levavcha, u'v'chol nafshecha, u'v'chol me'odecha. With our full hearts, our full souls, and all of our being, that we, like our ancient Israelite ancestors, might also become builders of a promised land. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
If you're lost, you feel afraid, and you don't know what to say, then listen, listen to our God. Is there a question on your mind? Are the answers hard to find? Then listen, listen to our God. Listen with all your heart and soul, and with all your might. Write them and learn them and teach them well, every morning and night. Close your eyes and listen. Quiet yourself, there's nothing to say. Stop all the clamor that gets in the way and listen. Listen to our God. When the wind and the thunder finally disappear, there's still a voice that you will hear if you listen. Listen to our God. You can hear it from the top of the highest hill or from the valley below. It can come from the edge of the universe. It can come from within your soul. Close your eyes and listen. listen to our God. Listen to our God.
So I'd like to invite up a man who has achieved his favorite title here at Congregation Kol Ami, immediate past president. Still. Immediate past president.
Nice ring to it, that's all. I could spend the next 2 years listening to that. Good evening, as Rabbi Lutz says. My name is Peter Mackler, and I do have the honor of serving as a member of the Board of Trustees. And on behalf of the Board of Kol Ami, we want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom. We want to thank, of course, our dear friend Cantor Linsky for sharing her voice and music tonight, Travis Smith for audio and video, and Leonard Seelig for his help in setting up tonight's oneg. And if I may, Rabbi, I'm going to just take a moment of personal privilege that as you close out your first month with us, what an honor it is for us to listen to your words of wisdom. So thank you. On July 30th, a group of us will be heading to the Hollywood Bowl for Everybody Rise, a Sondheim celebration. 2 tickets have become available. If you're interested, please let Adam Rotenberg or Leonard Slutsky know immediately. On Tuesday, August 1st, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., the City of West Hollywood is holding their National Night Out block party, which promotes safety, awareness, and neighborhood goodwill. Our own Esther Baum of blessed memory was a lifelong coordinator for this event. This year, they are honoring her for years of service to dedication to our community. The location is the 1200 block of North Harper Avenue. More information is available on our website and in eColanu. On Saturday, August 5th at 4:00 p.m. will be our next book circle gathering online. We are reading The Golem and the Genie by Helene Wecker. The Golem and the Genie was awarded the Myopathic Award for Adult Literature, the VCU Cabell Award for First Novel, and the Harold U. Libello Prize, and was nominated for a Nebula Award and a World Fantasy Award. What an overachiever, my goodness. We are seeking musical talent, those who can support and enhance our worship experience either vocally or instrumentally. Our dear friend of blessed memory, Richard Frank, and I would not be applying for this position. If you're interested or know of someone who might be interested, please let Rabbi Lutz know. We thank you in advance for renewing your 2023-2024 membership with Kol Ami. Renewal statements were sent via email, but if you cannot locate yours, or if you have any questions about your membership payment terms, please feel free to contact Adam or Devorah directly. And if you can imagine, before you know it, we will be celebrating the high holidays together. Slichot is on Saturday, September 9th. Erev Rosh Hashanah is on Friday, February 15th, and Kol Nidre is on Sunday evening, September 24th. We are already preparing for high holidays. To email you our schedule, information to you, and update will be on our website. We encourage you to mark your calendars now. And many of you will be excited about this. Starting on August 4th, and throughout the month of August, we will be starting services at 7:05 p.m. Voting takes place outside. We are piloting this idea in response to member feedback. What happens after the pilot will be shared with you once we see how it goes. And as always, are you ready? As always, we hope you'll keep up to date on all that is happening at Congregation Kol Ami by visiting our website often at kol-ami.org. It sounds just the same as the immediate past chair, as it sounded as 3 years as president. That's kol-ami.org. And while you are visiting our website, please do consider a donation to our synagogue to support the holy work we do all year long. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thanks, Peter. Thank you. So I feel like saying as we turn to page 586 and the Aleinu, in honor of Stephen Sondheim, everybody rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latei gedula liyotzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamolam, v'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. On page 594, it is a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be and oh, to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing to love what death has touched. We turn now to remembrance, words of remembrance of those whose loving memories we still recall, who rest in our hearts. And as I call the name of your loved one, if you would like, I invite you to rise as their name is called out. We call to mind first those whose yahrzeit, the anniversary of their passing, falls on this Shabbat. First, those whose names are on our wall of memory: Anne Young Blackburn, Sidney Saltzman, Seymour Mason, Gussie Weinstock, Joseph Weinstock, Herbert Zapolian, Henry Coomer, Arthur Altschul, Michael Sullivan, Anna Wertman, and Alvin Gross. Remember as well those whose yahrzeit is also on the Shabbat: Betty Greenspan, Michael Hubert, Lilia Cherkina, Sarah Levine, Mark Lintzman, Victor Escobar, Rob Eichberg, Murray Starr, Charlie Warmbrand, and Stanislava Koshman. We remember as well those who have died in this past year, whose families, members of Kol Ami, are still saying Kaddish for their loved ones: Michael Simmental, Victor Escobar, Alvin Gross, Ernie Benson, Kathy Weiss, Ellen Metzner, Janice Houghton-Levy, Anton Malley, Josh Kaplan, Don Hollis, Jason Thomas Lodge, Elaine Cohen, Maeve Eisenberg, Barton Kogan, Dabby Blatt, Stephen Shapiro, Carol Rosenthal, Marilyn Horowitz, Murray Blank, Stephen Hochstein, Ernie Sosnick, Stephen W. Wright, Scott Magid, Gloria Brown, Rosina Spitzer, Lizzie Taylor, James Hornbeck, David Bird, Fran Shanbrom, Louis Silverman, Patricia Rudolph, Harriet Stein, David Bordetsky, Vivian Bernard, Leatrice Bloom, Tammy Rabowski, Reverend Daniel E. Smith, George Fisher, and those whose families are still in the period of Shloshim or Shiva, recent death of their loved ones, Esther Keller Baum, Addie Lillyveld, Riva Solomon, and Charlotte Joseph. If you are here to say Kaddish for a loved one whose name we have yet to mention, if you would like to share their name with us, I invite you to do so at this time.
Tony Bennett, Sinead O'Connor.
So we say, Zichronam Livracha, may the memory of all our loved ones be a source of blessing. I invite you at this time to rise in support of the mourners among us and in remembrance of those who have left none. So we join together on page 598. Yit Kadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah ve'alma divrach Hirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon u'vyomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agalau v'zman kari v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach La'olam Olamei Almaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitalev V'yitalal Shmei Dekudsha B'richu Le'elah min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Da'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah min Shamaya V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all the bereaved among us as we say, Amen.
May the one who makes
seated.
peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oh, say shalom. Be Roma. Get on your feet, please. Oh, say shalom. If you want to. Be Roma. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu. Oh, say shalom. Oh, say shalom. B'imromav. Oh, say shalom. B'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu. 1, 2, 3, go. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down.
May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down.
May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down.
A Hasidic teacher taught that God created light on the first day of creation with which Adam and Eve could see everything. But knowing the way of humanity in generations to come, God decided to hide that first light. And a student asked the Hasidic teacher, so where did God hide that light? And the teacher answered, in the Torah. Well, then the student asked, can't those who study Torah find at least a little bit of that light? To which the teacher responded, yes. So the student asked, what should we do when we find some of that light? And the teacher answered, reveal it to the world by the way you live your life. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Don't go anywhere. We're going to join together in the middle camera. In Motzi, join with us.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
I know.